Shark Tank's Kevin O'Leary is breaking the internet after announcing that he is now partnered with Polkadot to buy TikTok, in a move that is another win for conservatives because Kevin O'Leary, if you don't know, is a pretty staunch conservative. This move comes right after the announcement of Mark Zuckerberg with bringing Dan White to the board, who is also a conservative, in addition to saying that he's getting rid of the fact checkers and being a lot more lenient on conservatives. It is a historical shift all taking place, and it is only the 7th of January. It gives us implications that America as we know it is about to change forever. And if this move is complete, it will all but solidify an inevitable end of the Democrat Party for at least 8 years minimum.
Just back from Mar-a-Lago, he was born in Montreal, has some very strong feelings about joining our country with Canada. Tell us a little bit about your conversation with President-elect Trump on this issue.
I had two topics that I wanted to talk to him about. Number one was integrating Canada towards a North American Union for greater strength, just period. The world's a difficult place these days, and most Canadians would like to look at that opportunity without giving up their sovereignty. So low-hanging fruit would be combined currency, for example, combining the Bank of Canada with the Fed, things like that. We are the largest trading partners. And just to ask him, because this was on Saturday, to say these meetings you're having with Trudeau and finance ministers from Canada, with all due respect, sir, are a complete waste of time. This guy's going to get eradicated out of the Canadian political landscape. Give the Canadians a chance to re-elect a leader, just like you got re-elected, that has a 4-year mandate, just like you have, and let's get down to business. And I hope they didn't land on deaf ears. I think he saw the rationale in that. That was one topic. But I had another agenda item that was very important to me. And
so here it is. This is what we're waiting on.
We announced that this morning. I have joined with Frank McCourt to buy TikTok, and this is very complicated.
Frank McCourt, if you got to look up his research on him, that's the individual with the Polkadot connection.
Deal. It's a multi-billion-dollar deal. We're going to have to work with President Trump. This is a bipartisan situation. We have to work initially with Biden, and we want to, and then on midday, 12:05, Trump will be who we have to work with to close the deal in the months ahead. So I wanted to let him know, as well as others in his cabinet, that we're doing this, and we're going to need their help.
It's looking like we will not be having to say goodbye to TikTok.
And Frank McCourt is also a fellow billionaire who, if you don't know, Polkadot, it is the pretty much decentralized cryptocurrency application that you can store your coins, pretty similar to Uphold and the rest of the other transactions applications. Sorry, getting tongue-tied right here. But what we have right after that is TikTok's reaction, and it's surprisingly positive for the most part. You have some of the liberals being liberals, but it's pretty overwhelmingly positive because for most people, TikTok is a valuable source of revenue. And when money is involved, people get passionate. And this is going to get conservatives a lot of votes on the upcoming years. And it appears that these companies, they're able to see the shift before majority of America can. The same reason why they shifted all the way left. You got to understand, those BLM rallies and all of those riots with Antifa, none of those had minimal numbers. They were massive because the propaganda was working. That's the shift America was in. We're currently shifting right, and moves like this only all but solidified.
According to several news sources, all reputable, Kevin O'Leary is in the process of purchasing TikTok. If you're familiar, the big concern with the government about why TikTok was supposed to be banned is because the company that owns it, ByteDance, was a Chinese-owned company. Now, Kevin O'Leary has stepped into battle, and he said that he is nearing a deal where he will be in complete ownership of TikTok. And if you're watching this and you're saying, why does the name Kevin O'Leary sound familiar? It's because this guy right here, Kevin O'Leary, is a shark on Shark Tank, also known as Mr. Wonderful. And honestly, with this news, yes, he is exactly that. And I will take 10% equity on kissing you in your little forehead. Now, if this goes into effect, that means that essentially the ban on TikTok will be null and void.
In addition to this, you got to understand that these young individuals are going to tell other people, well, you know, conservatives save TikTok. It's become political. And conservatives have been making a big move on tech. It makes you wonder how Democrats are going to respond. In my opinion, they're going to utilize AI. if we have a mass control on the tech conglomerates, they'll just learn how to operate within those systems. You already seen that there, through Mark Zuckerberg, they release influencers that were AI influencers. They were like LGBTQ, AI digital influencers, which are strange, a black woman and a black guy. Their first AI influencers. I feel like liberals are going to start utilizing systems like that to try to manipulate masses on conservative focused platforms, because the shift is so gradual right now. Well, it's been so gradual, and right now we're at a point where it is almost happening overnight. And then you got to think we're going to catch the drifters as well, the people that don't want to be with the losing party, the ones that always switch their football teams. No shade to you if you do, but they're the people that, you know, typically follow the crowd. And once you have that, you pretty much have every normie. And it's getting to the point where it's lame to be conservative. I mean, I'm sorry, someone's gonna clip that. It's lame to be liberal. If you see anyone that says anything that's based, it doesn't ever represent anything that's liberal. It's always some conservative talking point, something extremely what liberals would consider radical. They'll consider that base. You can't be a base liberal in 2025. And just off the premises that alone, they lose a lot of culture in the youth.
There won't have to be any more trials, no more going to court. It simply means that it's just going to resume ownership with Kevin. Now, Kevin O'Leary, if you watch Shark Tank, does have quite a lot of resources, especially when it comes to tech and wine. That has nothing to do with this, but I have high hopes for this deal being finalized. And I'm going to be so honest, I was getting very, very worried. It was starting to feel like Y2K, where it was just going to strike midnight and nobody knows whether the app would just be deleted from our phone and our memories wiped. But this is absolutely exciting and wonderful news.
If you've been following the news about the potential US TikTok ban that would go into effect on January 19th, this dropped yesterday, and it's Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank saying that he is nearing a deal to buy TikTok and he needs Trump's help to do so. And I don't know about you, but this has completely reignited my hope. There was a period there where I actually was like, maybe this ban is going to go through, and I started posting on Reels, and I have.
And even if these people are conservatives, they don't look like the standard conservatives. A lot of these people that's been speaking, they appear to be liberals. This TikTok purchase will be as significant as the X one, but a little bit more, well, not more significant. It can't be because X is worldwide with it. But the TikTok will be extremely significant for the youth in America. Now, Gen Z is growing up a whole lot. And honestly, people are starting to focus on Generation Alpha. But Generation Z holds a lot of weight on the minds of Generation Alpha. If Generation Z is shilling for TikTok, Generation Alpha would be more inclined to stay on the app. So it puts us in position for the future. And that's what a lot of people might overlook with this TikTok. Twitter gave us the power of today and now, but TikTok puts us in position for the future.
I hated every second of that experience. This is making me feel like TikTok could be saved. Things are going to work out for us. We get to stay over here where it's just so much better. And I'm really excited, and this would be great news for a lot of my clients who want to use TikTok. So I'm feeling optimistic about this. What are you guys thinking?
Getting to know the sharks behind Shark Tank Part 1, Kevin O'Leary.
So here's some quick short for everyone, to ones that might not know enough about Kevin O'Leary. And it's some facts that I didn't know myself, pretty interesting to break it down, just to know who might be the new leader of TikTok and get to know him a little better.
Known as Mr. Wonderful Terrence Thomas, Kevin O'Leary has been one of the most prominent sharks on Shark Tank due to him being on the most episodes of the show, but also because the dude is a major asshole. Kevin was born on July 9th, 1950.
Something that they said about Trump.
Before in Quebec, Canada, to a small business owner and Irish salesman. At a young age, his parents divorced due to his father's alcoholism and ended up passing away when Kevin was only 7 years old. Later on in Kevin's life, his mother remarried and his stepdad had a job that caused his family to move to many different places across the planet. Now, Kevin got his money management skills from his mother, who was a skilled investor, investing a third of her weekly paycheck into stocks and bonds, ultimately achieving high returns in her investment portfolio. She kept her investments a secret, though, so Kevin only discovered his mother's skills as an investor after her death when her will was executed. Now, Kevin had inspired to become a photographer, but it was the advice from his stepfather to go to college, and this is where he continued to develop his interest in business and investing. He received a bachelor's degree in environmental studies and psychology from the University of Waterloo in 1977 and an MBA in entrepreneurship from the Ivy Business School at the University.
Yet another business individual that's coming into politics very swiftly, gaining a lot of publicity, and now making the big moves. It's an age, and I like this because we have someone that's not really a technocrat, so you don't have a tech head or a PayPal mafia recipient. It's someone that started up from traditional American roots, and a lot of people can relate to Kevin O'Leary in many ways, more so than most of these tech billionaires, more than Mark Zuckerberg for sure. So I think it would be a good purchase, and it would put TikTok in the right direction, and it would just give liberals the opportunity to see that conservatives don't believe in the cancellation. They don't believe in the bans. I think TikTok will be more free than X. I do, with Kevin O'Leary, because he's a businessman. He's not about to lose money over personal feelings. He's going to put the numbers first. And he's still, he's extremely rich, don't get it wrong. But he's not so rich where the backlash doesn't matter. It still can affect his career. And honestly, I'd rather have someone in control of an app to know where your backlash could affect their ability to succeed, because that means they're going to try a little bit harder. So when you have people like Mark Zuckerberg in charge of the app, or even Musk in some instance, they have less to lose. And if they have less to lose, they can abuse a whole lot more. So I would like to see it in someone's hands like Kevin O'Leary.
University of Western Ontario in 1980. Mr. Wonderful's big break came in 1986 when he started Softkey in the Toronto basement with two other business partners. Now, Softkey was a publisher and distributor of CD-ROM-based personal computer software for Windows and Macintosh computer, whatever the hell that means, but I know Softkey kicked ass. I can tell you that much about it in the market, so it was generating so much money that they were able to flat out buy their competition, which is some straight up Bruce Wayne shit. Eventually, Softkey was sold for $4.2 billion in 1999. But the funny thing is, sales and earnings from the company that bought Softkey soon dropped and O'Leary departed. The purchase was later called one of the most disaster acquisitions in recent history, and it sounds like O'Leary had his company go to shit, so then, like my dad, he got the fuck out of town. Through stocks and investments, Kevin's fortune continued to grow and was offered a spot as an investor on the TV show Dragon's Den on CBC in 2006. On the show, O'Leary developed a persona as blunt, abrasive investor who at one point told a contestant who started crying, "Money doesn't care. Your tears don't add any value." What a dick. In 2009, the American version of Dragon's Den, Shark Tank.
It's strange they'll call people these things but can't call them wrong, though. It's true. The unfortunate truth, if you embrace them, it's where you'll have the most growth in your life.
Tank began, and the Shark Tank executive producer Mark Burnett invited Kevin to appear on the show. Overall, Kevin O'Leary has made around 40 deals across over 130 episodes on Shark Tank and has invested $8,543,000 on air. There you have it. That is...
You're pretty needed on the show because you're the only, savage or a person who will hit them straight with it.
So here is an interview with Kevin O'Leary, I'm about to say an investment, where it shows some of his best moments and gives you more information about who he is as a person. Like I said, if liberals, he make this purchase, liberals are going to go search who's the new owner of the app that they spend the most time on. They're going to see these clips, and they're going to start to embrace conservatism as a whole. I look at the whole picture. I'm just not caught into now. I put my mind in the place where others are. I don't really just view things how I see it. I want to see it how everyone else does. And I'm seeing a lot of young people searching who is Kevin O'Leary on TikTok. And these clips I pulled from TikTok specifically because I feel like this is what they're going to see. So these are the top clips on TikTok. If they see these things, it's pushing a conservative message. It's a lot different. It's the same thing can happen like with Mark Zuckerberg. People might just search. When we loved Facebook in our time as millennials, we were searching who was Mark Zuckerberg. We were searching his ideologies, and we were seeing he was super successful. It made us more interested with being liberal than conservative just because he was successful. And we knew he owned something that we enjoyed. And then we found out our rappers were liberal. Then we found out our actors are liberal. So it gives you more and more of an incentive to be liberal because the cool people are, the successful people are. The same thing can be said right now with conservatives. The most successful people right now are appearing to be conservative, even the ones that's dominating the internet, like the Paul brothers. It is taking over like a storm. And once you have the culture, you have the country.
How do you think this has any chance of surviving and working? I hate this so much, it's incredible. It's one of the worst ideas I've ever seen.
When you know with certainty their idea is complete dog shit and it's going to zero. Now, Lori's on my left, Barbara's on my right, and they're so kumbaya, and they say, well, you know, I just think you're wonderful. I can't invest because it's just not for me. When I know with certainty they wouldn't touch this radioactive turd at any price. And I listen to all this, and I just finally say to them, listen, your idea is a piece of shit. The only person up here telling you the truth is me. They're kumbayaing you because they don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't give a shit about your feelings. I care about your money. And you're wasting the most precious asset you have in your life, time.
House lawmakers expected to vote on a major TikTok crackdown. That's coming this Wednesday. Now, the measure would ban, or at least possibly force the sale of the app to someone not affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party.
That was a lot smaller than I wanted. I ain't gonna even edit it. That's my fault. I'm gonna have to. I can't. When I shift it, it doesn't let me make them larger.
Shark Tank investor Kevin O'Leary is going to join us now, and he says he might be one of those people who's interested then in buying TikTok. So, Kevin, great to have you this morning. I'm gonna have to ask you to help me understand, okay? Because I'm just, I'm a morning show, talk show host. You're Mr. Wonderful. How do you, first of all, if the House did this, how do you force ByteDance to divest of TikTok? I don't even know how you feasibly do that when it's so connected to a government entity like the CCCP.
Well, I'm not going to do that. Order of law is going to do that. The company's got itself in trouble before. This issue won't go away. Let me preface my remarks by saying I admire the Chinese people, the advancements in culture and technology and science that they brought over the thousands of years. I just don't trust the Chinese government, and it turns out either does Congress. Now, let me give you an example. I have two phones. This is my TikTok phone. It's crippled. It has no data on it about me or my businesses. Here's my regular phone. That's how you deal with TikTok. Everybody knows it leaks data to the Chinese.
What the heck? I was not expecting that.
It's not a secret. It's been around for years. So it's a very important platform, and this issue is not going away. So if this order goes through, it's got to be sold. I'm going to put up my hand and say I'll buy it, and I'll tell you why. I'd like to do it this way. Form a committee of 2 members of Red and Blue that were part of making this bill, and so you'll be the oversight committee for the next 18 months. What I'm proposing is purchasing these assets into a new American company. I'll guarantee the servers are on American soil. I'll guarantee we'll close the Chinese backdoors in the code. I'll guarantee it becomes safe for the users, the parents, small business and large business. It'll be an American company.
See, that's the thing. Those are the messages that the youth should be listening to. An American company, making it American. And talking about the business aspects of it. When liberals start purchasing things, they'll start talking about how it's going to help equality and other social justice. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you see a conservative talking about purchasing something, he's giving them the real world facts. And this is what the youth need to see. They are paying attention to this closer than the presidential election. Some are. And it's the unfortunate truth. But is it not amazing that a conservative is in the eyes of the youth and they are dependent on them to maintain their number one source of entertainment? This is going to be massive. I'm telling you, this is going to be one of the most important videos I've ever made, even if it has 200 views.
I would ask permission to leave 20-30% with the Chinese people because they'll have a non-control passive position. They will not control the board. They will have no say in how we operate the company. And they'll therefore will resolve this issue around free speech. Nobody wants
Kevin,
to lose
let me jump
the
in
app.
there. I saw you say that before. You said something like 20% remaining with the Chinese. And this is my point. Like, and that's great. If you buy TikTok, that's wonderful, and perhaps I'll join TikTok. But the question is whether or not you can be a little bit pregnant. And I'm just a little skeptical of this divestiture idea, which I hope would work. But I don't know how you get the Chinese Communist Party out of TikTok. How do you get the algorithm out? And in your case, if you leave a little bit of ownership to TikTok to the Chinese, that's going to be inevitably the Communist Party. And the whole point of the app was its ability to manipulate Americans. It wasn't to make money. So I don't know that you can be a little bit pregnant here with TikTok.
Well, fair enough. If the committee decides that I can't leave any ownership with the Chinese, then I won't leave any ownership with them. But the point is, there's many cooperative businesses in China owned by Chinese, and any Chinese company is a CCP. Everybody knows that. So the Chinese government has lots of joint ventures with American companies that manufacture over there. Let's throw them a bone. And I'm not saying that's a covenant by which I'd have to decide or not decide to buy it. I'd have to put together a syndicate of American and sovereign wealth money approved by this committee of the House. I spent a lot of time on the Hill. I think I have a lot of respect on both sides because I support small business. I have no agenda here other than to make this platform safe for Americans to use.
Yeah. I believe that. I hope it's a realistic, feasible option for TikTok. And we'll find out soon if the government forces the hand to see if this is a realistic, feasible option for TikTok to be owned, perhaps.
Why he cutting him off like that? That's kind of weird. Am I the only one feel like that's low-key strange how he cut bro off like that?
Perhaps by Mr. Wonderful. Kevin, always great to see you. Thank you so much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
Come on, Fox. What's going on with that, man? But yeah, so like I said, it's going to be massive. I know that it's going to change America as a whole. You're going to see a whole lot more conservatives enter these younger spaces, and I'm not saying that in no strange way, but for the longest time, being a conservative was typically viewed as lame, and mainly for older people, 30, 40 plus. What about an era where 15, 16, 20-year-olds are getting involved in conservative values, seeking nuclear moments, and rejecting liberal madness? We have a video right now going viral on my Twitter profile that has a Christian man who was approached by this OnlyStans girl who walked up to him. He works at Five Guys, and offered herself to him, and he rejected. She tried to do it at the restaurant, and he rejected. She's the same woman that went viral like last year. So this ain't the one with 1,000, but she had intercourse with 959 men. And he rejected her. And he said, I'm waiting on marriage. I'm a Christian man. That's the type of stuff that we'll start seeing if America embraces the conservative values, because that's what it teaches. It's a great video. You guys check it out. Please like, comment, subscribe if you got the time. I try to stop saying comment. It's just nature now. But please like if you can. Comment is actually for a lot. And click the notification bell if you are already a subscriber and you want to see the rest of my stuff and break narratives together. Let's get it.